Hey everyone, Annette here with the A Wild Ride Call Life podcast. And today's guest, I actually known for a while, and I'm just really super excited to have him come back on to talk about the things that he's working on and what he's doing. And so thank you, Joe, for being here. Let's hear it.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me. So, as you know, I am a Army veteran. I worked with the Patriot Missile system in the Air Defense Artillery. I deployed during Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom. And like a lot of Army veterans, I self-medicated with alcohol for years to the point where I almost lost everything. Now I'm going on 3+ years sober. I'm now on a mission to normalize sobriety with veterans who are using and abusing substances in a harmful, self-medicating way. And the vehicle to spread this message is this Sobervet podcast, which is available on all major platforms.
Oh, I mean, that's powerful right there. And congratulations on your 3 years of sobriety.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the best choice I've ever made. The hardest thing, but also the
Yeah,
best thing.
that's amazing. And for you to talk about it, but also create your own podcast for it. You start your podcast.
So I started my podcast in November, and a quick story of how it's probably not that quick, but the reason why I started my podcast is back when I first started getting sober, or first when I got sober, my wife literally sat me down, gave me an ultimatum, and said, "Look, I've had enough. It's either me and the kids or you're drinking." So that second, I quit drinking cold turkey. And because I wanted to choose my wife, because here's this woman who dedicated her life to me, and I'm not going to choose some liquid over my family who I love. So I quit cold turkey. And in the beginning and to this day, each Saturday morning, I started a what I like to call a weekly celebration of sobriety. I would do these ruck marches in the woods. And that had two functions. Number one, it gave me a reason not to drink Friday night, because the last thing you'd ever want to do hungover is go ruck 5 miles in the woods, you know? And number two, I enjoy being in the woods. It's where I get a lot of clarity, a lot of ideas for business. And I was just really looking forward to inspiration to kind of take me to whatever next level God wanted for me. So these ruck marches were happening. 6 months go by, literally no inspiration, no ideas. 8 months go by, 10 months go by. I'm like coming up to the year mark of sobriety. And finally, I've had enough. I was on this one ruck march and I got super frustrated. So I'm like, God, here I am. I'm sober almost a year now. I'm fully able, like, use me. Why am I getting nothing out here? Like, please let me be a conduit for whatever you need me to do. And I'm like challenging God because I'm fed up. Cause like, even though my life had purpose, I wanted it. I felt like there was something more. So halfway on this ruck march, I had this idea that God just planted in me. I heard it clear as day. It was this sober vet. I'm like, this sober vet. And I immediately thought of a podcast, which is funny because I really don't listen to podcasts much. But I was like, this sober vet, that would be the best way for me to portray to the world how awesome sobriety is. And normalizing sobriety with veterans is a conversation I've never heard. So I get home from this ruck march. I'm on fire. I talk to my wife. I'm like, babe, God gave me this idea, blah, blah, blah. I'm like going 100 miles per hour. And she's like, oh, well, that's kind of cool and all, but like, no offense, you're just some guy that's now sober. Like, yeah, you're a vet, but you need to link up like with a therapist, and you need someone like with credentials to kind of help you with this mission. I'm like, yeah, you're right, babe. Like, she has so many good ideas. So I've reached out to my network because I own a franchise, J Dog Junk Removal. I have 2 territories, and I thought my network was very expansive. Like, I'm like, I know everybody, this should be easy. Apparently I know a million therapists and I know a million veterans. I didn't know one therapist that was also a vet. So now like a month has gone by or so, and I'm getting down on myself because I'm like, God gave me this amazing idea. I'm already fumbling it. Like, what is happening? So I'm on my phone, I'm scrolling through IG, and all of a sudden I see Sergeant Thomas, she was our supply sergeant when we deployed, and she had just posted something about Evolve Therapy. She has a therapy practice down in West Virginia. So I'm like, Sergeant Thomas, I'm like, why didn't I think of her? So I immediately DM'd her and I was like, hey, Sergeant T, I know it's been a while, because at this point I haven't talked to her in 20+ years. I got out in 04. So I reached out. I was like, hey, Sergeant Thomas, I have this really cool idea. Can we talk? Gave her my number. She called me within the hour. I told her this idea and she was like, that's amazing. Of course I'll help. So she's now my co-host. And yeah, we started back in November. Episode 1 was my story because I figured if I want people to open up and be raw, I would have to lead by example. And then episode 2 and moving forward, we have other veterans telling their sobriety stories in hopes to get other veterans who are struggling currently to kind of consider sobriety.
Well, first of all, I love how you incorporated your faith into this, because that's not talked about enough either. But you just said you asked God for a sign, pretty much. Like, what else do I need to do? And then I love how the name comes out of nowhere, because that came for you. And then you're scrolling through IG and that pops up. It's like, there were all the signs because of that one ask. What else do I need to do? What else can I do? I love that so much for you, that you have that. How else was your podcast received? How, when you put it out there and said, I'm doing this, what were people saying? How did
it was kind of all across the board. Some people were confused. They're like, you have a problem. What's the problem? Like, because I was a very high functioning alcoholic. I'm a business owner, a father. I did all these networking groups. Like, I made sure my work was done before I played. So yeah, some people were confused. A small percentage were like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, I've never really heard that conversation before. And it's funny because I just started going to networking events with like representing this sober vet, where normally when I would network, I'd represent J-Dog. We give a lot to the community, so there's always a positive response. Well, I was just at Vet Fest in Malvern like last month, and it was my first event, so I'm super pumped up. And the reactions literally were split black and white. So some people, because they had a couple of breweries on site, so some guys be walking around with a beer and they look over and they're like, oh, and they just kind of like walk the other way. They're like, no thanks. And then some people, mainly females for some reason, would like run over and go, oh my gosh, I wish my dad heard about this. He was an alcoholic. He was in WW2 or what. Like, there were so many stories of people wishing this existed for one of their loved ones. And that to me is motivation. Like, you know what? I'm just going to stay on this path, because even though it may rub some people the wrong way, at least it'll spark a thought, a thought like, man, what is this sober vet? Why would you want to be sober as a vet? And that's going to sit with people, because I guarantee you when they're in their 40s or 50s and still hungover on a Saturday morning, they're going to be like, man, maybe this drinking thing isn't all it's cracked up to be,
It is. It's those conversations that you never know who's going to need to hear it, just from a mistake, if we're willing to own up to it. But you just don't know. You don't know who needs to hear it. And then you just said that you had people come up to you and say, I wish my dad would have had this.
Right.
You're always going to at least one person that say, I wish, or man, how can I be a part of this? How can I share my story? And I think it's very courageous, because it's still so hard in our society to be so vulnerable, open, and honest. And we do get backlash, but then we have people like you who are like, you know what? No, here is a safe space. We're going to talk about it, because we can also save lives by continuing this conversation.
Yeah. And you know what's wild too? On this journey, one of my biggest takeaways is the amount of freedom I feel now that I'm sober. Whereas prior, going to any event, going anywhere, in my mind, I'm like, all right, I got to stop at the beer store. I got to stop at the liquor store, get this on the way, make sure we're set up. What are we drinking? Oh, we're meeting at the bar. Like, alcohol was so ingrained in everything I was doing. And then, like you said, if I didn't have a ride, would I have to Uber? Who's driving? Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's so many things revolved around that. And then at the end of the night, when I'm that buzzed, I'm making horrible decisions. I'm eating greasy food, nasty stuff. I'm getting on Amazon and ordering things I don't need, like just all the things. And like, now that I'm sober, I've broken all those chains, and it is like the best feeling in the world. It's like, it's so indescribable. And it's funny because when you're in it, the last thing you ever want to do is quit and even think about that journey. Now, I wouldn't sugarcoat it. It's definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But after like that 6-month mark, I reassessed and I literally looked at everything in my life. The only thing that I missed about drinking was selfish. I missed the buzz. I missed the social interactions and that part. But literally my health, I lost 50 pounds. 50 pounds because I was drinking double IPAs. I wanted the higher octane, like the more alcohol, the better.
Yeah.
My sleep got so much better. My relationships with my kids, my family, my wife, like everything just got better. And like I was talking about eating those greasy foods and ordering online, my money, I was done spending money on stupid things while I was buzzed. And now I have money. Like, so when you reassess and you look at everything in your life being better, I think I'm somewhat intelligent. I was like, you know what, maybe this is a good thing. So then I was like, let's do another 6 months. And after a year, that's when I got my confidence back. In the beginning, it was weird because I felt like my armor was stripped from me. I was unplugged from the matrix and I was kind of like naked now presented to the world. So once I got my confidence back about the year mark, now I'd never want to drink again. Cause now that I know I don't need to rely on a substance and I could just be me and authentic 100%, I show up now better than I ever did when I was drinking. It's just, it's so freeing.
Oh, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. I could see the joy in your face. I could
Thank you.
see the freedom. It's just
Mhm.
like it's just coming out because it's just you are just like, this is me. It was hard, but I did it, and now I don't do this and I don't do this. And it's so hard because when you said you went cold turkey, which not everybody could do that.
That's tough.
How did you get yourself through it? I mean, I know you said your kids and your wife, and but I know that there were days where you're like, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah.
How did you do that? How did you talk yourself through that?
So the number one thing I tell anybody, if you're ready to get on this sobriety journey, get a support system, because nobody I know has ever done this by themselves. So my support system included my wife, who's been a complete rock for me. She's understood me from the beginning, because like now that I'm feeling my emotions and I'm not numbing myself, my emotions were all over like the first 6 months. I would be mad, I would cry, I would be angry, I'd be happy. Like it was just crazy. And she kind of walked me through that. I got a therapist. It was a male therapist. He was an addict for like 18 years. So he knew what I was going through. That helped in the beginning. And I'd say one of the biggest things that he told me was, you know what, like you're always going to want a drink. Like that's just, it's in your DNA. So your goal is to make it to your pillow. If you can make it through today, tomorrow we'll get that drink. But all you have to do is make it through today. And by him doing that, because like when I first quit, I was like, I don't know if I could do this rest of my life. It was like way too overwhelming. But when he kind of broke it down into 24-hour increments, was like, listen, just make it through today. Tomorrow the beer will come, but you just get through this day. And by getting through these days, turned into these months, is now turning into these years, because it just never came. And again, when I said before that I felt naked and I had no confidence, the way I built my confidence back was by making it through those days, those weeks, those months. Because once you made it and once you realize that, wow, I can do this without drinking, you get your confidence back. And the confidence stays because it doesn't rely on an external source. It's in here, you know? So I always tell people I did something that no one in the world could say they've done. I beat Joe Yurick. And because I've done that, I show up now today. I could talk in front of 10,000 people with a smile on my face. I'm not nervous about anything because this is me. This is who I've always been. And like, it's just a joy to finally strip everything else away and be able to kind of present that to the world. So again, support system is number one. Uh, Compartmentalizing it and kind of breaking it down to the day by day makes it a lot less overwhelming than the year thing. And then get a hobby, do something. We all have some creativity in us that is being numbed by alcohol or whatever substance we're using. So mine is the podcast. Mine is getting the word out about sobriety and just talking about the joys of it. But yeah, if it's we had a guest on a couple weeks ago and he liked to paint. He just, as soon as he wants a drink, he would go paint, and it would just like take the whole desire to drink away. Whatever it is, just figure out what it is and do it. And if you can't think of anything, go outside, walk, run, do something active. Because once you get active and then your mind starts firing on all cylinders, and then you realize, like, you know what, maybe I kind of gravitate towards kayaking or whatever it may be that you like. You don't know until you get out there and do something to keep yourself busy. So yeah, just keep yourself busy, because in the beginning you'll realize, wow, I wasted a lot of time drinking. And now that I'm not drinking, I'm like, like, what do I do? It's kind of tough, you know, but as long as you fill that time with something productive, you'll just grow into who God wanted you to be in the first place.
That is really it's pretty amazing how you just spoke about all that, because there's a lot of people who, and you might be able to, who feel like they can do it without what you just described, without a support system, without a therapist. I know support systems are more than, gosh, they really can truly change everything for you, right? And
Absolutely.
but the one thing that I know people still aren't ready to do is finding a therapist. Can you please tell our audience, as a male, how you were able to say, I need help. I cannot do this alone. And how did you go about finding that therapist and then sticking with it? Because I know you, I mean, still people either can't afford to find a therapist. I'd love to know how you found yours. And then even wanting to get a therapist, because we feel we're trained, that military mindset's like, I got this. I don't need any
Mhm.
help. You just touch on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the reason why I strongly believe you need a therapist is because you generally your support system are going to be people you love, people you already know, your friends, your family, people at church, whoever it may be, or people that already know you. The difference between them and a therapist is when you get comfortable with a therapist, you can tell them things that you wouldn't want to tell people you love or you know because you might be afraid they would judge you, treat you a certain way. With the therapist, you know that there's no judgment. You know that they're going to listen and they're going to constructively tell you what the right thing to do or how to act when you feel that way because they want you to be better. They like their whole purpose is to make you the best you possible. And when you go there that next week, they're not going to be like, remember what you said last week? Like, yo, that messed me up. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You know, like there's no judgment. So that to me was super important because now it was actually my wife's idea for me to get a therapist. And as men, we are very hard headed and we don't want to talk about our feelings. We want, no, I got this. I could do this. Well, she noticed my emotions were all over and she was like, you need to get this under control. You need to seek help. So I was like, all right, you're right. So I didn't want, me personally, I didn't want a female therapist because I wanted someone who could kind of connect on me on every level. So I needed that masculine, aura. So I reached out to a male who I knew was good. Like I studied him. And also when you go to a therapist one time, that might not be the therapist for you. So never go and be like, oh, that guy was a weirdo. Like I'm not into this. You need a shop therapist because that guy may be good at what he does for someone else, but you might not jive with him. So luckily I jived with this guy. We got along very well. And again, he was an addict. So he was hitting me with all this stuff. He's like, bro, I've been there. I know exactly how you're feeling. And the fact that he could already relate already put my shield down so then I could discuss things. 'Cause I remember it was like our second session. And I'm like, dude, I, I don't know what's happening, but like when Friday night when we're watching a family movie, as if it's like a Disney movie, by the end of it, I'm like bawling my eyes out. I can't control myself. Like, what is up? And my kids are like, "Oh my God, Dad's crying. Dad never cries." Like it's this whole thing, and they're like, "Yeah, bro, because you're finally feeling your emotions, all that stuff that you're suppressing and numbing. It's now coming up." And he's like, "It's okay to cry. That means you care. That means that you're watching something positive. It's affecting you in a certain way. That emotion is being showed." He's like, it's called being a human. And I'm like, wow, like, because we're so trained as men to no emotion. You can't show that. So now I cry and I'm like, you know what? I've changed my perspective to where I get to cry. I get to feel every emotion because I'm sober. That's a celebration, like I may feel weird and my kids may look at me different, but like I'm proud to cry now because I can. Before I couldn't because I was numbing and I was doing bad things, but now I get to cry. So it's kind of part of my superpower is I get to do things I couldn't when I was sober.
And what I love as well is that your kids are seeing this side of you. Like, dang, dad is like, right? Because I mean, my kids have seen my lowest of the low, and then
Mhm.
they see me where I am present day, and they're just like, they could talk to me more, they can act, how they want to act. Like, they don't have to, they told me that they felt like they had to, tiptoe around, walking on
Mm.
eggshells kind of
Yep.
thing, right?
Yep.
And so it's so like you can breathe better. It's such a different feeling when you're now who you were always meant to be.
Absolutely. So my relationship, I have two boys. Currently, my oldest is 22, my youngest is 15. And my relationship with my kids was always good. It was never bad. But with my youngest, especially when I would start drinking, he'd be like, ugh, he didn't like the smell of it. So he wouldn't want to hang around. So like whenever I decided to start drinking from that point on, I would be without him because he chose not to be around me when I would be drinking. So now that I'm not drinking, he's hanging around a lot more. Our relationship is a lot better. And like, another thing is, like you said, they've seen me good, they've seen me bad. They now see me when I'm sober. It's I always show up. I'm now always reliable. There's no like, oh, does dad have a headache? Is dad drinking? He can't drive. There's none of that. Now it's a constant. Dad's reliable. Dad's present. Dad's here. And for me to be able to provide that in their lives is such a win for me. Cause again, now there's no question like, oh man, is dad going to be in the mood? Is he going to be happy when he's drinking? Is he going to be mad when he's drinking? Like, no, dad's now cool all the time because there's none of this going on, the ups and downs. It's like, I'm just me all the time now. So to be able to be that for my kids now, it's just, again, it's part of that freedom I was telling you about earlier. Like, I just feel so free and it's just a beautiful thing.
I'm so happy for you. This is
Thank you.
huge. And I'm just so proud of the fact that you're helping other people. Your message, your message. You have done that. You have turned that into this whole like scripture of you can do it. And I mean, you can, God always puts people in your life that's meant to be there, right? He'll take them and
Mhm.
he'll put them there. He'll remove it in place. And so I feel like now that we're in this phase of our life where we are okay where we are at. We have made it through the storm.
Mhm.
He starts bringing people in. You have your circle, you have your core, you have him, you have the therapist. I feel like it just changes so much. And I wish people would be open to receive that more because it's hard.
I spoke to her like a week or two after I chose sobriety, and she was like, "I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think you were gonna choose us." Like she had that conversation with me, prepared to depart this person that she loved, and she was like, "When you're sober, we're best friends. I love everything about you. It's when you drink, you're this different person, and I'm done dealing with him." So like for her to even have that conversation with me and to be 100% legit and like literally we're done if you continue drinking, to have the intestinal fortitude to even present that to our relationship, like I thank her every day for that, because if she didn't scare me straight, I wouldn't be here. And another thing to that point is like, I remember when I was in the depths of drinking, and if I would see someone like me who now is so joyful about being sober, I immediately would like get defensive, like, well, that guy probably had an easy life. Like, nobody is really just that happy. Like, I would immediately like pick apart someone that's acting the way I'm acting right now, because again, I was masking things, I was hiding things. My wife gave me limitations. She was like, you can only have 3 beers. That way you won't get too drunk." I'm like, "All right, babe, I only had 3 beers." In front of you, I would have a fifth of Southern Comfort hidden. So, like, yes, I'm only drinking 3 beers in front of you, but I'd run to the basement, do a couple shots real quick. Like, I was doing a lot of things behind the scenes, behind her back, just to feed my addiction, because I was in a very dark place. And people don't realize that, because now it's so good and they see this joy that you were discussing. But that's exactly why I felt the need to start this podcast, because people need to see this joy, and they need to know that, as cliche as it is, yes, anyone could do this, because our strength is in our choices. Once you make the choice to do this, you could 100% do it. I happily share the tools to help you do it, but anybody can do it. And then once you get over that hump, for me, it was like this 6 to 12 month mark. Once I got past that, there is no going back. Like, I'm on such a natural high now that no buzz can ever match, because buzzes come and go and they come with a lot of regret. This natural high doesn't. I have no regret. I know what happened last night. I know exactly what I said. Like, I remember everything, and that's how life should be. And now I'm finally like enjoying every moment. I'm living it, because so many memories, like being on vacation. There's times where my kids will tell a story and I'm like, when did that happen? And my wife's like, "Oh, well, you were drinking that night." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't remember that at all." So here I'm missing out on core memories because I was drinking, not no more.
I do now have those, and we were talking about this before, was I do have those flashbacks of moments where I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? And how did I even get there? And how did I even get home? And I will never do that again. I have a grandson now. He's going to be 2 this month. And I'm like, he's,
Congrats. That's cool.
thank, thank you. I love him so much. And so everything I do now, even more so, is for I have a 22-year-old son as well, and a 25-year-old daughter, and then my 2-year-old son, and an amazing son-in-law, and all those people there, and nieces and nephews, and like I'm a tia, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, you know what I mean? So now all
Mhm.
those are even more crucial to me than anything
Right.
ever before. Because before I was a leader, I was a soldier, and not to diminish it, but that's just all I thought I was.
Mhm.
I'm just this. I'll show up to work tomorrow. I'll be in formation. I'll do what I have to do. But now I think after we take the uniform off, it's like, well, then what do we do?
Right.
I really love how you're telling people you can do this. If I can do it, you can. It sucked. I cried. I didn't wanna. I threw a tantrum,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, they have you, they have people, they have, who they choose. And I think that's the most important, right? You have to make that choice. And it's hard. It's hard.
Mhm.
But
Absolutely.
but that's why you're here. God called you to do this. And it's just like, what the heck? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And it's crazy too, because I always think back to what at the time I thought I was super lucky. My AIT and my first duty station were Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. That's where I learned to work with the PATRIOT Missile system and the air defense artillery. And it's literally in the western tip of Texas. So right over the border is Juarez, which we would call J Town. And in J Town, you only had to be 18 to drink. So at the time, they made the drinking age on post 18 to keep soldiers stateside. Because like I now that I'm out, I can say this. We would go down to J Town on the weekends in between pay periods when we were broke. Because there was this one bar called Tequila Derby. It was $10 drink and drown. So you get there at 9 o'clock, you're drinking till 2 a.m. off $10. It was freaking awesome. But it was super dangerous down there. A lot of bad decisions. Like looking back now, I'm like, especially with the cartel and everything that was happening. Like, I do not recommend none of that. So we would be post side, and I would go down to class 6 as an 18-year-old E2 private, getting like handles of liquor, cases of beer, and we bring it back to the barracks. And we had a blast. Like it was so much fun. We partied like crazy. I loved every second of it, not realizing how much it was setting me up for failure later in life. Because to me, the alcohol was just so ingrained in our culture as a soldier that when I got out and I felt some sort of way about my transition, I would drink because that's what I knew. And that was the only thing I knew how to react to adverse or happy situations is like, we celebrate, we drink, we're sad, we drink. Like that's just the common denominator there was alcohol. So when I got out and I was alone, living by myself, I just drank because there was no one there to stop me. Because now at this point I was over 21. And yeah, it was just the beginning. Although at the time I thought it was friggin' amazing, it really just set me up for a lot of trouble later in life.
First of all, I was stationed in El Paso, but in
Oh, word.
2011,
Hmm.
and I can't even imagine that they even had drinking age of 18.
The Derby. And if you could see what that building looks like, it's scary too. It's right on a corner. I'll never forget. Like, and again, at that time, we had so much fun down there. But God, looking back, and I think of my son, my oldest, when he turned 18, I'm like, when I was his age, I was walking around in Juarez, Mexico. Like, what was I thinking, dude? Like, yeah, it was crazy.
You want to take the sober vet? What do you want to do personally? Like,
So that's a good question. So, in a perfect world, I'm working on selling my business right now so I could focus on this sober vet full time. Um, my biggest challenge right now with this sober vet is awareness. I just need more people to hear about it. And what I want to do, like, say on average, we just recorded episode 25, we have 21 released. If on average I can motivate one veteran to become sober per episode, that would be the biggest win in the world for me. Like just because it just takes that one person, because when that person becomes sober, Now a parent is now proud of their child who chose sobriety. Now the spouse is proud of their spouse who chose sobriety. Now the kids are proud of their parent who chose sobriety. So like by one person choosing sobriety, you have such a positive ripple effect that is just a beautiful thing. And as we know in the military, they throw around the number 22 a day. Most of the people that make that horrendous decision have some sort of substance in them while they're making that decision. So if a ripple effect of normalizing sobriety can reach the masses, that number should come down. And it's funny because I had one of my guests on and he said it in such a perfect way. He was like, listen, I know it's tough being a veteran, but if you want to hurt yourself, go on a ruck march with Joe. Go do taekwondo. Go do something like that. You'll hurt yourself for the day, but you'll be here the next day. You don't need to end it and hurt yourself. Like there's so many other positive ways we can hurt ourselves and then hug it out when we're done and boom, you're at least you're still here. So like if again this positive ripple effect that normalizing sobriety with veterans has the potential to reach, that's huge. And then on an even bigger level, again, I'm happy with one person per episode. That would be amazing for me. Mission accomplished. But even on a bigger level, I don't see why there can't be a This Sober Vet Japan, a This Sober Vet Germany, a This Sober Vet Canada. We're not the only soldiers that are self-medicating here, you know? So like, I mean, there's potential for this to really change the outlook of all veterans, which to me is just huge. And the fact that God planted this in my head is such an honor. Like I'm so proud to be a part of this and to have Dr. T, who was willing to jump on this crazy idea with me. And she's been a gift because each episode she like brings her insight and like, it's just, there's too much positivity here for anything to go wrong. You know, I want to help as many people as possible and just normalize sobriety to the masses.
I feel like it absolutely can happen. It's
Mhm.
just we need to keep pushing it out. So everybody who's listening and watching, let's push this out. Everybody needs to have this. We need to have this at every duty station. Like everybody needs to know about the sober vet because it affects more people than you know.
Right.
Female, men, it doesn't discriminate. Everyone, and then it's just such a hard thing to talk about and a hard thing to deal with. And so we need to be able to push this out. Where can people find you?
So that's a great question. We're on all major podcast platforms, or you could go to our website, which is www.thissobervet.com. We're also on YouTube. Yeah, and like I said, anywhere you listen to podcasts, just search us up and we're on there.
Any last closing thoughts that you want to put out there for us?
Absolutely. Like I said, you could do this. Anybody could do this. You just have to keep in mind that your strength is in your choices. And again, I don't like to sugarcoat things. Even though this was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, it's also the most rewarding. I always recommend getting a support system. And also think about this. If it wasn't so good, why would there be so many people celebrating it in the way we do? Like literally as soon as I realized how awesome sobriety was, first thing I did is like, how can I help others? Like other people need to know about this thing. And again, just your strength is in your choices. You can do this. And just know that you know where continuing to use goes. You know that path because you're living it today. My challenge to you is just try something new. Try sobriety for 6 months, reassess. If it's not for you, if everything in your life isn't better, that substance will always be there. So yeah, give it a shot for 6 months and reassess for yourself. See if it works.
It's perfect. Thank you again so much. It was so good to reconnect with you. I will put all his information in the show notes. We will share this out for our launch.
Thank you, Annette. And congratulations to you. I'm super excited for you as well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much.